Good evening and welcome to Enemy Within on Friday the 21st August. Sorry we're late, guys. Me and Tony just been sat here chatting to ourselves, I was thinking the encoder was going, and we were just talking to ourselves, you player. But we've got an exciting show lined up for you. Tony's joined me tonight because Tom's away and he's busy. And we've got Jason coming on to speak to us in a little while, but in the meantime, while Jason's getting himself sorted out, we've got Kazs come in to join us and give us a brief update on what's been going on in the world of Kazs. Hi, Kazs.
You all right, guys? How we doing? Everybody okay?
Yeah.
Oh, you can.
Right, last week in Calderdale, which, for those who don't know, is West Yorkshire, Halifax, we had protests going, which was an absolute fantastic turnout, despite the pissing down rain. I mean, we had horrendous rain. But we had about 50 people turn out. The police were rather friendly, which I found confusing, but there you go. They were helpful, non-intrusive, and we got the job done.
Oh, that's
Brilliant response from people. A lot of people since have come back with, even to my mum when she went shopping in Tesco's the other day, was that your daughter on front of the paper of a day? She looks just like you.
Oh, you did quite well. You're facing in front of quite a few microphones and cameras.
Yeah, we got BBC Look North, ITV Calendar, BBC Radio Leeds, and the Huddersfield Examiner. Now, we also got, apparently, the Halifax Courier came out, and I'm not too happy with their vid. It's all biased toward the council. They did a 30-second video on their newspaper site that basically showed two Black Mariahs sat up round the corner from the council, and a few of us sat there as we were waiting for everyone to gather, looking rather dodgy, to say the least, because, well, it was pissing it down and people were trying to get themselves sorted. So that was their coverage of it. They weighed in heavily on responses from the council, but less than a paragraph from the actual protesters or the reasons for the protest. Whereas Radio Leeds, they put out a good 4-minute section at 7 o'clock in the morning before the protest even happened, as did Look North.
Wow, that's quite good.
I thought so, yeah.
So it appears you've got quite a lot of momentum building there, Kaz. Have you got anything else in the pipeline in the near future, or anything that you can talk about anyway?
September the 11th, we are back on the protest march again, this time with a moving protest in Wakefield. Mm. Well, we recognise the fact that it's getting colder now, so we need to be on the move a little bit, not just stationary. So we've got to have a moving protest, and we're going from Wakefield 1 down to the Cathedral. That will be a 12 till 3 march. We're looking at maybe an hour outside Wakefield 1, with an hour outside the Cathedral, half hour stopped outside the police station, which is en route, 3 hours in total.
Excellent.
And I'll say that again, September the 11th, a Friday.
I think people might remember that date, don't you?
Well, yeah, I had this pointed out to me afterwards, and I hadn't realised the date when I was actually told what date to set.
No, well, when
and I had it pointed out to me afterwards, and I thought, oh shit, well, it's too late now.
No, well,
And
when you're
I'm
planning
sorry,
stuff...
it was over a decade ago, and whilst, yeah, I still do hold deference to the lives that were lost on September the 11th, we cannot put all life on hold for that.
Absolutely, 100%.
And it has to be a marked day for survivors as well, surely.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, because plenty survived that day and had to take their lives forward. Yeah, and so I'm sorry, we're taking it forward as a day of survivors. It's not my fault. I was told to do that day. I did what I was told.
Well, I know when I'm planning things, the actual significance of certain dates doesn't enter my head at all. If it's me girlfriend's birthday or my birthday or Christmas Day or anything like that, if I happen to be planning something, it's planning it, and
it's inconsequential.
It goes out the window. Yeah, the bigger picture is more important at all times, isn't it?
Yeah. So now I'm just looking at it as a day of survivors, and we're all getting together on that day of survivors, and we're protesting the fact that they won't let us survive in peace or with any justice.
Uh-huh.
Mickey Summers had some great feedback from last Friday.
Oh, yes.
Apparently, West Yorkshire police are willing to help him find his social services files from the years that he was actually based within Wakefield in social services. They're willing to help him look at filing complaints for illegal destruction of his files and try and trace them down if possible.
That certainly sounds like a step forward. That's really good
news.
news.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. As he said himself, if Nottingham police won't do it, well, then maybe West Yorkshire will.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, full good luck to him.
Yeah, I had a word myself with David Hollis the other day, and what we talked about was very encouraging, and David has promised me that at some point in the near future, when there's something very definite to report, he'll come on and bring us all up to date on it.
Good.
So, having a retired colonel with 35 years of service and an MBE for his services to the country, he's still carrying on his service. I'd call that above and beyond the call of duty, wouldn't you?
What regiment was he in?
I don't know, to be honest.
Because that does actually weigh heavily on choice of interaction, shall we say.
Ah, right. Well, David's the chairman of the Nottinghamshire Inquiry.
Yeah.
The group that's pushing for the inquiry.
Right. No, I've been looking at quite a lot of army history and their connections throughout World War II. As we're getting back that far,
yes.
There's a lot of evil coming out from the regiments.
I doubt David was born
when I was here the other week, if you remember, I found the link for Wrighton's sign-up is promotion. I posted it in chat.
That's right.
That then went viral without any recognition, I noticed. Not from yourselves, but from everyone else that was in the chat. That quickly went viral without any recognition from where they got it from, either from yourselves or from me. Because I'd posted it in chat as I located it on the files.
Oh, right. Well, I suppose if it went viral, it went viral, then that's a good thing, isn't it? Always nice to get the recognition for your work, but sometimes it...
Even for yourselves, if not for me, since they'd found it on the chat.
Yeah, I mean, we're not in recognition, but yeah, I get where you're coming from, Kaz. Well, I'd like to thank you ever so much for coming on and give us a brief update. Is there anything else you'd like to just give us briefly before we bring Jason on?
No, that is it. Thank you, sweetheart.
That's excellent.
Have a good weekend, everyone.
Okay, we'll play a little tune here while we bring Jason in. Hi, and welcome back to Enemy Within. And we've managed to locate Jason, and mystery man that he is. And welcome back. Welcome, Jason.
How you doing, fellas? Hello?
I'm good. Hi, yeah. Jason. I'm good, thanks, mate.
Yeah, we're all good, mate. You've had a bit of a day of it today, I understand.
Yeah, what we've done, what happened is, I've been in dispute with British Gas for quite a while, and they attempted to get warrants, several warrants, over a period of time. And they kept failing because I would go in and defending these warrants. And so, what I'd said to British Gas is, look, every time you take me I have to go to court to get a warrant, to defend a warrant, I'm charging you £1,500. That's my fee. I sent a fee schedule. They didn't reply, so that I took that as a tacit agreement. Now, I think it was 12th of this month, I was in court and a district judge signed a warrant, even though she said, I can't discuss anything to do with your bill or any dispute because it's not in my jurisdiction. She then went along and said, well, it's clear that you owe some money, so I'm going to give the warrant. So they came for the warrant. They sent me a letter saying they were going to come today, so I was prepared for them because I thought, you're not getting in because I'm in dispute with you. It's just been corrupt from start to finish. And so this morning, I knew they were coming. I'd put some extra security measures in, shall we say, so that they couldn't get in. By picking the lock, which is the only way that they would be allowed to come in anyway. And that is if they've got the correct warrant, which they didn't even produce a warrant. But anyway, so this morning, I've sort of barricaded myself in and the police turn up and the police are saying, if you don't let us in, we're going to force entry. And I said, well, you can't because this is a civil matter. All you're here for is to keep the peace. And this is all on video. I've got it all on video. Uh-huh. I said, you're here to keep the peace. It's nothing to do with you. There's no breach of the peace because I'm inside and they're outside. So, there's no need for you to be here. Anyway, they kept trying to negotiate with me through the letterbox. And then what they did is they lured me and my stepson, who was also in the house, to the front to speak to us through the letterbox. And then we hear the bang smash. I go running through into the kitchen, and the police have got the big red, the enforcer, the key, the big red key they call it, and they've smashed my back door in. Just completely smashed it in. Completely smashed it in. Totally unlawful. Obviously caused a lot of upset. And so that's where we are at the moment. I've got it all on video. We've had a few lads round from the bailiffs and the banks. They came round. And I spoke to a couple of them on camera, and they've seen some of the footage. In fact, I gave them the footage. I said, look, you take this footage. You use what you want. The main thing is that they can't get away with this. It don't matter to me who puts the footage out, who does what, as long as people know what is going on and that these people can't get away with this. These policemen and women who just completely ignored any law. They didn't have the law on their side. All they did is they just smashed their way in, and which is it's just outrageous. They can't even do it. There's no remit whatsoever for any police force to smash their way into a house on behalf of a private company.
Yeah, we've got an interesting comment there from Unique Lee in the chat room. He says, "Never talk to strangers, especially through letterboxes."
Yeah, that's some good advice. It's some good advice, and I've learnt that the hard way, but I certainly will be doing that in future.
And we've got there, police working for corporations is getting worse. And Lee says police working as corporations, slight difference. Yeah,
well, I mean, I kept saying to the policeman, bear in mind, once they've smashed their way into my house, I've got a heart condition, right? I'm 45 years old. I've had a heart attack and I've had 2 strokes. Now, I've got a heart condition, and so what I had to do is I did try to speak to the officers, and I did say to them, and I was polite, and I said, well, I'm obviously polite, otherwise they would have arrested me, because that's all they were doing. They were looking for an excuse to arrest me. So I was completely polite, and I was saying, look, I've got absolute respect for you as a human being. What I don't have is a respect for you when you put that clown's uniform on. Because what you do then is you become part of that corporation, and that is corrupt. As we know, South Yorkshire Police are corrupt. Yeah. And I did say to him, look, you're corrupt. And one of the officers took quite an offence to it and said, you don't even know me. And I said, no, I don't know you. But you don't know me. But if I was a member of the EDL, you'd assume that I was racist. Quite rightly. And you're a member of South Yorkshire Police. You're operating on their behalf today. And so, therefore, I'm going to assume that you're corrupt, and your actions have proven that you are corrupt. Mm-hmm. But it just seemed to fall on deaf ears. Well, it did fall on deaf ears. They just smashed the way in. Once the footage is out there, it's just absolutely astounding. I had a couple of guys come over from Beat the Bailiffs and the Banks, the Yorkshire Bailiff Response Team. They were. They came after the fact because as well, I was trying to post on Beat the Bailiffs and the Bank, look, I've got British Gas at my door with the police and they're threatening to smash their way in. But it just wouldn't let me post. I don't know whether there'd been a block put on or what, but I just could not post. It wasn't posting. And after a while, I managed to get one of the posts through, and there were people sort of wanting to help. But because things had escalated by that time, I didn't really have time to be on Facebook. So, I'm sort of walking around with a camera following these so-called public servants as they just smashed their way into my house. Just absolutely incredible. But the guys from Beat the Bailiffs and the Bank, when I showed them the actual footage of them smashing their way in, the jaws dropped. They absolutely couldn't believe it. They said, we just can't believe they've done that. We just can't believe. I told them all the time, I was telling them, you are not permitted to do this. You're not authorised to smash your way into my house. This is a civil matter. You're in the wrong jurisdiction. All you are here for is to keep to make sure there's no breach of the peace. I'm inside the house. they are outside the house. There's not going to be a breach of the peace. And, of course, there had to be a breach of the peace, so the police created one.
Did you happen to mention Section 26 of the Criminal Justice Act 2015 to him?
Well, I did, but not in quite the same way as you've just done it to me. As you can imagine, the adrenaline's going quite,
Of course, yeah.
And I did say to them that they were breaking the law. I think it's the Criminal Justice Act, isn't it? I said that they were breaking the law under the Criminal Justice Act, and they can get 7 years in jail for it. I didn't quite know the sections, but it didn't matter. They were coming in no matter what.
Yeah.
There was no other way that it was going to end.
They're showing more and more that they don't care. They don't care who's there, who films it, and what laws or legislation they break. They're even doing it with smiles on their face. And we see this with the eviction in Manchester a few months ago. Was the first blatant example that I've seen of the police just showing you that they will do whatever they like, when they like, how they like, regardless of law, legislation, public opinion, humanity, respect and decency. They don't care.
Absolutely. Absolutely they don't care. But also, while the guys from Beat the Bailiffs and the Banks, sorry I can't remember the names, I will give them a name check at some point, they're now editing a video together. Whilst they were there, I got a police officer phone me. Now, before they'd arrived, I'd phoned the police and said, look, I want to report a crime. And they said, okay, what's the crime? And I said, well, someone smashed my back door in. I said, it was some of your officers. And instantly she knew the incident. Yeah. Instantly. She knew the incident and said, oh, well, they've acted lawfully and they've done this and they've done... I said, no, they haven't. And she said, well, what I can do is, what we do is, our complaints procedure means that we need to get a sergeant to phone you. So I said, well, look, I'm not complaining about anything. What I'm doing is I'm reporting a crime. Yes. And you're refusing to take this report of a crime. And now you're trying to fob me off into some sort of complaints procedure. So, anyway, after I'd been on the phone with her, a sergeant did phone me back. And it just so happened to be when the guys were here with the camera who were doing the interview with me. And it was a sergeant that had attended. And I got him... So I put it on speakerphone and they videoed it. And so I said to him, so what you're saying is, everything that you did this morning was lawful. And he said, absolutely. And I said, and you're prepared to stand in a court on oath and say that your officers acted in a lawful manner? He said, yes, absolutely. And I said, did they act legally? And he wouldn't answer. Now... I mean, that just says everything. And in the end, he just put the phone down on me. I mean, this is all on tape. This is all on video.
Excellent.
So, we'll be able to see they're just basically the cowards. As far as I'm concerned, the police, all they are is a gang that are for hire for the corporations, and that is it. They are absolutely nothing to do with protecting the public. All they are is they try to extract money from the public and they enforce what the corporations will. The corporation are trying to impose their will upon me, and they've been able to facilitate that.
Uh-huh. Well, yeah, the problem we've got at the minute is these officers acting in such a manner are at present being protected by the courts. So that's the real big problem. I think we're up against it, and finding a judge that will act on his oath is very difficult. Absolutely, I agree. I completely agree. I mean, the actual warrant itself was unlawful in the first place. Mm-hmm. That didn't stop them. The act of trying to obtain the warrant was fraud under the 2006 Fraud Act, which I did bring up in court. But again, it's just you're just ignored. You're just ignored. And what I think is there are decent judges out there. There are. I've got to believe that, otherwise you might as well give up. There's got to be a decent judge that is going to act within the law and not ultra vires, which is what happened with the first when the warrant was signed. So acting beyond the jurisdiction. But the more and more that we expose this, the more and more that they're going to have to. It's going to start to affect more and more people.
And so instead of just taking it, we've got to stand up. We've got to make these people accountable. Don't stop just because they say, no, there's no crime.
Sorry about that.
So are my ears.
Press the wrong button.
Yeah, but they've got to be held accountable. And I think that there is going to come a time when, people are going to start saying, this is just not, it's not acceptable, and we're going to have to rein it in. But it will take a while. But everybody needs, if they are unjust, if something is unjust happens to them, they need to take it as far as they can and make as much noise as you can, because, awareness of this situation, it's going to be the way that we solve it. It's got to be awareness.
We've got a couple of comments there in chat. We've got Kazs says, ha, 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 decent, ha, ha, judge, cough, cough. And Kev Mark says, criminal damage. They have to make good the damage under the 1954 Gas Act. So, have you had any discussions about who's going to pay for it?
Well, at the moment, the police said, no, you'll have to pay for it. In fact, they said they came in through the back door because it was the cheap option. They did say that. They said they came in through the back door because we've got two brand new, pretty new anyway, UPVC doors on our front. Uh-huh. On the back, it's just an old wooden door. Right. And that's the one that they've smashed in. And they said that was due to trying to make it as cheap as possible for me. So the whole thing was, you're going to pay no matter what. You're going to be paying for the damage. And you bring up law, and you bring up points of law, and you bring up anything you possibly can, and it's just ignored. So what you have to do is you have to go and try and get a remedy after the fact. As it stands at the moment, I'm having to pay for the door to be repaired myself. Somebody's coming round, so I'm having to pay for the door to be repaired simply because it won't even close. No. It won't close. So either it's repaired or it stays open all night.
Yeah, and that's not really feasible these days, is it?
No. And just to the point that Kaz made, there has to be some judges, and all that. Look, there has to be some judges, whether they're 1 or 10 or 15 or 20, there has to be some. Otherwise, we might as well give up. There has to be somebody with a conscience, and I firmly believe, I still believe in the human spirit. I still believe that humans are overwhelmingly good, and therefore a few good people might seep into the judiciary. Mm-hmm. And I know this from personal experience anyway, because I know people in services that are good people and that are trying to do things, to make things better and to do the right thing.
Well, it does appear from the chats that I've had with Mickey Summers, with David Hollis, with Tom Crawford, there are one or two, well, a few more than that. There are several, not just police officers, but people in high positions in other establishments who are coming over to the good side and trying to help us out.
Yeah.
So,
and we have to look. We have to believe in that, and believe that to be true, and believe that. Otherwise, there doesn't seem to be any point. Mm-hmm. No point at all. No point at all. Getting justice is just you just can't get any, can you, at the moment?
Well, it'd be like Unique Lee said a few moments ago in the chat room about soon enough we'll be back to the broadswords, the chainmail, and digging moats, and it's almost as if it's coming to that now.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the telling quotes that I got on camera from one of the coppers was doing a recce. Now I live in it's essentially a terraced house. It's a sort of built in 50s. But the next door to us is the end of the terrace. So the police, they trespassed across our next door neighbour's garden, and they came into our garden, and they were doing a recce, and there was one particular police officer, and I got him on camera, and I said to him, he said, oh, we're going to come in here, we're going to come in through here, and we're going to come in through here, and I said, you're not, because if you do, I will have your job. I'll have your job. And I'm telling you, I will have his job. And he said, these are his words. He said, that doesn't bother me. I've got my pension. And I said, yes, you've got your pension until the government steal it from you. And then you will realise that you've been doing the bidding of criminals. And you are criminals. Sorry, I get a bit wound up. It's just reliving it sort of thing, you know.
I think any of us would get wound up in your situation. I think you're remarkably calm considering.
Yeah. My wife, we're at work in Leeds. She's really wanted to rip somebody's head off. Really did. Just can't understand. Well, she can't understand. She can't even entertain the fact that somebody smashed their way into our house over a civil matter. This is a civil matter. I'm not a drug dealer, and my wife works for the government. So, you know, she's absolutely livid.
Well, I think
absolutely livid.
The message there is that all those people who are living in their bubble and thinking this can't affect me as long as I keep ignoring it, sadly, it's coming to your door soon.
Absolutely going to come to your door. I did see, ironically actually, I did see a post on where I think it would Get Out of Debt Free forum or something like that. And it said, how long is it going to be before they're just smashing their way into people's houses? And then the very next day, they're doing that to me. You see, they couldn't get through my barricades, so what they had to do is they had to get the big key. They had no right to, and smash their way in. It's just unbelievable. But I had my stepson with me as well, and I'm disabled. I've got antiphospholipid syndrome, which is a really debilitating disease. It's not a disease; it's a condition, really. But it's often mistaken for MS. That's it's a blood disorder, but it's often mistaken for MS because you get lupus and your knees all cramp up and all stiffen up and everything. And my stepson is type 1 diabetic. And this is one of the reasons why I said we can't have an electric meter, because if we can't, a prepaid meter, because if the electric goes off and we can't get out, his insulin's knackered. His insulin's in fridge. So it's gone, it's done. And so it's a health risk. But also, the main part of it is I'm not even a British Gas customer. That's the absolute worst thing for me. I'm not even a British Gas customer, nothing to do with British Gas. And when they took my meter, they were taking the meter out. Once they'd smashed their way in, they were taking the meter out and they were putting a new one in. I said to him, what are you going to do with that meter? He said, oh, we're taking it. And I said, well, is it yours? And he said, yeah, it belongs to British Gas. And I said, well, prove it. Can you give me some proof of that? Because it seems to be in my house. And if it's in my house, then possession being 9/10 of the law, then you need to prove that it's yours before you can take it. Otherwise, it's theft. And he would just, oh no, we're taking it. And I said to coppers, I said, he's committing a crime right in front of you. He's stealing my meter. Just absolutely didn't care.
No.
Yeah, my understanding is the meters belong to Siemens, and they're not ours, but you can buy your own and have them installed, because you don't actually get charged for gas or electric, you just get charged for the metering.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I understand. Yeah. So I'm that's going to be what I do. I'm going to get my own meter. I'm going to have my meter on. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take their meter out, and then I'm going to charge them for storage. And until they pay me for the storage, they're not getting it back. Look, this might be a small victory, battle victory for them. But the war, we're going to win this war. Mm-hmm. This is a war against tyranny. And when I was saying to one of the officers, I said to him, this is a police state. You've broken in on behalf of a corporation unlawfully. I said, this is a police state. This is fascism. And he just suddenly went, I lived in Germany for a long time, and I resent you calling me a Nazi. I said, no. I didn't call you a Nazi. I said, this is fascism, and you're a fascist. That's what it is. And so, take your rubbish that you try to peddle to me that, I'm trying to say that he's a Nazi, and do it. But again, I had to keep within parameters where they didn't have any excuse to arrest me, because these were coppers, and they were armed with tasers as well. And for somebody with a heart condition, a taser, you might as well forget it, aren't you?
Yeah, it could potential death sentence.
Well, it is. It really is. I mean, if I got tasered, I'm done.
Yeah.
I had a heart attack when I was 27. I've only got 2. In your heart, you have 3 chambers, and I've only got 2 left because one completely died when I had the heart attack.
Wow.
So, if they taser me, I'm a goner. So I had to be really careful. Yeah. But I tried to stay towards the edge where they didn't have an excuse to arrest me or taser me or anything. I wasn't violent, I wasn't aggressive in anybody's face. I was more laughing when they came in. I'm like going, you broke into my house, you smashed your way in, I can't believe it. You're all going to get sacked. I can't believe it.
I mean, it must have been really difficult, but I think you did really well to stay calm. Once you lose your temper and start swinging, you're going to end up face down on the floor with several people, your head, tasers, your back, all kinds of stuff.
Absolutely. And that's one thing that I needed to avoid because, I wanted to stay within so that they had no excuse to physically take me away. And so that, but I wanted to also let them know that I knew what they were doing was wrong, and that I was going to come and get them, and I will go and get them. I will get them. It's as simple as that. I will get them.
Yes, I mean, I just can't believe what's been happening to you this week. I suppose many of the PIR lessons didn't hear these on Sunday. If you'd like to just give a little mention there, what happened to you on Sunday, or what you told us about on Sunday with the other legal case you've got going on.
Oh yeah, well, I had in 2010 I developed a blood clot behind my leg, behind my knee. Just one night I came out of the bath and I just laid on bed with Mrs. watching TV, and suddenly my leg from the knee down just went completely numb. Just went numb. I felt it go numb, completely numb, and it went cold, and it was grey, and it were dead. Mm-hmm. I went to the GP the following day, and he said, "Oh, well, you need to go to a vascular clinic," and made me an appointment for a week's time. So I went a week later, and by that time the blood clot was 10 centimetres long, and I had the clot-busting drug, but it didn't get it all because clots go hard. They go really hard. Once they go hard, they can't be removed. And so I had a procedure while I was laid on. I went for an angiogram after I had the clot-busting drug in the high dependency unit, and he said, "Look, the professor said, we can do one or two things. It's not got rid of everything. We can do one or two things. We can leave it, and hopefully, nature will find a way around it, and your other veins around will get some blood into your leg. Or I can try this procedure. It's really, really, not dodgy, really dangerous. It's a dangerous procedure. Now I'll go down through your groin into your down your artery. I can grab hold of, obviously with a tool, not with his hands, but I can grab hold of the clot and pull it out." He says the danger is if we knock it, we're going to have to amputate your leg straight away. So I said, "Look, do it. I'd prefer to save my leg. I'd prefer to lose my leg trying to save it rather than it just drop off because I've not done anything." So we did that, and it was successful, but I had a lot of nerve damage because the nerves in my leg had been starved of oxygen for like a week. So I had a lot of nerve damage. I mean, when you're talking about how numb it was, I was actually cooking one day with a frying pan, and some of the fat out of the frying pan fell from the pan, and it went down the front of my leg, right down the front of my leg into my foot, and I didn't even feel it. So that's how much nerve damage they were. I had a big scar, but I didn't feel anything. So after going to after it had all been done and sorted and everything, I went to a solicitor, and Erwin Mitchell took on the case, and they sent me a letter saying, "Oh, you've got a really good case. We value your case at £250,000." And this went on for like 5 years, and I kept going to see surgeons and specialists, and they were all supportive of my case and everything. But suddenly, Erwin Mitchell, every time the opposition brought up something, they go, oh, and they wouldn't even argue it. And it resulted in, I got a letter and some surveillance footage in June. And what they'd done is they'd been surveilling me, obviously for the defence. And they'd chosen my daughter's 18th birthday, which is obviously, and on my daughter's 18th birthday, me and her were going to go and see S Club 7. So, let's not go there.
Yeah, please.
So, they'd got all this surveillance of me, and what they'd done is, they'd said that in my statement of truth, I'd said that I couldn't drive, and they got footage of me driving. Now, I didn't say that I couldn't drive. What I'd said in my statement is that at that time in January, we only had one car, and my wife works in Leeds. So we only had one car. So I said that I was feeling more isolated because I was unable to drive, because we only had one car. Right? They took that one line, that one little sentence, unable to drive, and they said, right, you've said here you're unable to drive, and we've got footage of you driving. Erwin Mitchell then said, so we explained everything to him. They put all these things to him, and I said, look at the context of what they're saying. I said, just look at it. I'd show. Suddenly, Erwin Mitchell just said, oh no, we're going to discontinue. And I don't think the insurers, because this went on a no-win, no-fee basis as well, I don't think the insurance is going to cover you. And so then they landed me with a bill for the defence's costs and their costs, which totaled to £200,000. So I got a bill last week for £200,000, and I got my back door smashed in this week, not in the Keith Lemon way. So I've had quite a week.
Yeah.
Shocking.
I've just had probably not just had it, but I've just got a message from Kevin Mark in Skype, and he said he can join us. So I don't know if you're okay with that. Kevin actually have a bit more information he could give us on this, on the particular laws and statutes. So how about we play a rather appropriate tune for a few minutes while we get Kevin in?
Excellent.
I turned the bailiff, but I did not hit no policeman. Oh no. I said I turned the bailiff, but I didn't hit no policeman. Going up in my garden, they're trying to break the door. They want to steal my possessions, 'cause a banker man, he wants more. But I say, I'm in the bailiff, but I swear it was in self-defense. In the bailiff, and they say it is a violent offense. Bailiff man always hated me. He wanted to make me go. When I asked for the warrant, he just smirks, and then he just said no. Bailiff, but I swear it was in self-defense. I say I chin the bailiff, but I swear it was in self-defense. He was a big boy. For 25 years I paid my way. The banker, he want more. Man says I can't stay now, he's breaking down the door. I can't take no more. I chinned that bailiff, but I did not get no policeman. Oh no, no, no. took one punch.
To Enemy Within, and we've got Jason and Tony with us tonight, and Kevin Marks just joined us. Good evening, Kevin.
Right, yeah, you alright, Andy?
Yeah, doing brilliant, mate. How are you?
Yeah, good. Been a while.
Yes, we haven't spoke for a while. It's been getting very busy. I think we last spoke to you before we started on People's Internet Radio, so we'll have to get you guys on here sometime soon.
Yeah, we were speaking about the bills of exchanges, you know, but it's quite an in-depth subject. It goes for some people, but not for others. You've got to be strong in what you're doing when you're doing the bills of exchange. But the only thing we can do now is help people and try and set up payment plans for them. The bill of exchange is a bit more in-depth, as you know, because we did a show on that quite a while ago, didn't we?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, on the warrants, I've seen more and more gas warrants coming out now, especially on gas and electric, and they're actually forcing entry. I was on one last week, actually, and they walked. The copper walked. He was all right. And he was adamant, though, he was going to come in on the forced warrant under the 1954 Gas Act, warrants of entry, sections 1, 2 and 3. But what people must understand and know that that's the scam. That's the catch, if you like. It's a game. You just got to know the rules. Yeah. That's the catch. That's what offers the power. That's the criminal warrant. So if you've just got the 1986 Gas Act, forget that and chuck the 54 out of the way for this moment. All they've got in front of them under the 1986 is what we call a statutory warrant, which just requires consent. That is it. No force, no nothing. But what they do, they attach the 54 now to give the 86 power. Does that make sense?
I'm with you.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So they attach the 54 to the 86, which gives, if you like, the 86 power. It sounds confusing, but that's what gives them the power to force entry. But what they're basically saying is you're the mad nutter that's going to blow up the street. That's what they're saying. And there's gas gushing out of your property. Well, I haven't got a problem with that. If there's gas coming out of the property, I'll be the first one in. But that's not the case. So I've only had to use it once on the Criminal Justice Act, Courts and Criminal Justice Act 2015, Section 26. I used that about 2 weeks ago. He did take notice of that, actually. But the one I had, that was a 3-hour standoff. He walked. We set up a payment plan. And the one previous to that, I had a 3-hour standoff as well. And that was in Stone in Stafford. And that copper that came, he was a sergeant. He was probably one of the best I'd ever met. I didn't even have to mention it to him. He was absolutely fantastic. He didn't get involved, and that was a 3-hour standoff, and they walked. So it's important that you've got to keep quoting this Criminal Justice Act to them. A lot of them aren't even aware that it's enforced. Now, that's not just for gas. It can be for bailiffs clamping your car on drives, anything where the coppers execute their powers and privileges outside of their oath, if you like, of constable, allowing other parties to get their profits, their money. Use it. It's there, and it came in force, I think it was April the 13th this year it came into force, and it carries, like Jason said, a 7-year prison sentence. So that's where we are on that. But under the Gas Act as well, when Jason had his door kicked in, under the 54 Gas Act, it's whoever the utility company is, it clearly states in that Gas Act they must make your damages good. And that doesn't mean secure it and board it up. It says make your damages good. Now, they should have made your door good today, but they haven't. They've just walked off and gone. And they don't care. They just don't care about your finances or your health or anything. So that's where I am on it. I'm attacking the utilities, and I'm helping quite a lot of people. In fact, I phoned you up today, Jason, spoke with you today.
You're right, you did, yeah.
Yeah? So what we basically said to Jason is that he's to go down to the police station and talk to the senior officer, but obviously he's told you now it was a sergeant. But once they get that video footage, it's the Criminal Justice Act, the one that we quote them, Section 26, it's liable for the man or the woman in that police constabulary. It's them that's liable, not the police force. It's them. You go for the man and you go for the woman and you take a private claim out. And that's what that's all about. So it makes them vicariously liable. Some listen, some don't. They didn't listen today, but they are liable what they've done today in their actions.
Have you seen the footage, Kev?
No, I haven't, not yet.
No, okay.
But that's where I am on the warrants. And I had to shut down the radio because it feeds back through Skype, so I can't see anything that's going in the chat room at all. But if there's any questions or anything like that, I'd be very. Some people say to fit their own meters. I'd say cautious if you do fit your own meters. Be very cautious because they will try and do it for extraction. So just bear that one in mind. And the other thing is when you've got a gas meter and you've got a main cul-de-sac, if you like, a main street that's going down, feeding 8 properties, and each individual property is with a different utility company. How can you, and it's the same gas that's going down that same gas main, the main trunk, and then it forks off, it spurs off to each property. How can you split that gas and say EDF own that gas in that property, British Gas own the gas in that property, E.ON own the gas in that property, and so on? You can't do it, can you?
No.
It's the same gas, that's why.
That's right, Mark. I've just got a message. Paul Webster's wanting to join us. Is it all right to bring him in, Kev?
Yeah, bring him in, Andy, yeah.
Okay.
But it's Centrica that actually own the whole of the gas in the UK, and it's the other companies that pay the franchise, if you like, and buys the gas. But it's Centrica that run it, lock, stock and barrel. Hey there, Paul.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Hi,
yeah,
Paul.
I'm in.
Sweet.
That's it, we're live, Andy.
That's it. We've got quite a gang together now.
We should form a criminal gang and call ourselves the police.
I wouldn't lower myself to such depths.
No,
It's already been done.
you've already been talking about criminal records tonight, Jason. Don't push your luck, mate.
No, you can't say that about S Club 7, I'm sorry.
Oh, you're going to make Frag swear again, you know.
Yeah, well, he swears all the time anyway, so if he weren't swearing, I'd be worried.
Yes, Paul, what would you like to bring to the party?
Well, I don't really know what you're up to, what we've been discussing.
Sorry. Kev, would you like to bring him up to speed?
Yeah, basically what it is, Paul, one of the guests that's on, Jason, today,
Yeah.
I know you've been at work, he's put a couple of posts in Beat the Bailiffs for the gas, and what they've done basically, the police have gone in with a red key in his back door, forced entry.
Is that the one at Sheffield this morning?
Yeah, this is the guy that's had it done to his property today who's on.
Yeah, I've read that this morning. Well, the thing is, it depends on where we're going to go with this stuff. There's got to be some point where we start taking out prosecutions against the police for this kind of behaviour. They've violated Section 26 all over the place there. That's 14 years imprisonment they're facing. They can't be operating on behalf of corporations. It might be a warrant, but they don't understand what warrant it is. They don't understand these things, and as we witnessed in Crew Mags with Wesley Ahmed, they don't give a shit anymore. They know we're close to him, and they're just trying to get everything through. They're just trying to pass everything as if there's no problems in the world. And the county courts they're collapsing. They're panicking like fuck.
Are they using the county courts though? That's the problem. They're not using the county courts. Are they using the magistrates' courts?
That was the magistrate.
The thing is, Jason, what happens is when you go to court and it's a magistrate's court, which is criminal, they will flip, and they can flip jurisdiction on you, and they'll flip it into civil, because if that magistrate is trained in civil as well as criminal, she will flip jurisdiction. So if you deflect the 54 warrant, the criminal warrant, and she says to you or he, I'm still going for the warrant. Now you start scratching your head and saying, whoa, hold on a minute. I've just discharged the 54. What she's trying to get there is the 86, which is the statutory warrant. Does that make sense?
Yeah, of course it does, yeah.
They're going for 2 warrants at the same time.
The trouble is, what we had at Crew Mags was the judge took about 3/4 of an hour to deliberate. We were in there for about an hour and 3/4 for a 10-minute warrant hearing. And the paperwork was that tight that was put in under oath. She knew that she was just going to have to basically just commit what she needed to do, because when she came out on deliberation, she made it very, very clear that all parties agreed that it was a monetary dispute, yet she still granted warrants of forced entry, if necessary, on a monetary dispute. So she's done. If somebody takes now a prosecution, which, where do we take it? We're taking it to their courts and we're being just chased around. They're now charging us £170 for an application, which was £40 the last time I put one in. So they're putting all the burden of proof onto us, and it's ridiculous. We can't get any, there's the odd ones who've been in the groups, the likes of Tony, possibly Alonso, who could get a bit of fees reduced. I mean, I met a wonderful woman called Judith Maxey. I met her at, do you remember the old girl who came to the Bolton meeting, Kev? Judith?
Yes, I did, from Brighton.
Yes, well, she came up, not last week, the week before, all the way up from King's Lynn to talk to me about these gas and electric meters. Now, I was like worried, 72-year-old woman, I'm saying, look, Judith, you're going to have to take a lot on here. Then she gets these documents out. She gets documents where she's taken on the Bank of America, Merrill Lynch. This woman does nothing by computer. It's all paperwork, all paper trail. She sent me a full copy of what she's got with the gas. I'll tell you what, E.ON have really fucked up with this one, Kev. They've really messed up with this one. They cut her off in January, put a pay-as-you-go meter in without even telling her, but they didn't even send her a key so she could actually put any electric on until the 31st of May, despite letters that she'd written to them, the court, all of them ignored, and she's got this paper trail. All it needs is somebody to pick it up and somebody to take it forward for a no-win, no-fee, but you obviously can't find them. This woman is an ex-millionaire. She had everything taken off her in a divorce, and it just so happened that her husband, the divorce went before a judge who not only was he a Freemason with, but he played cricket with. So she found out that she lost everything. Now, she had a £670,000 farm that bailiffs turned up with a warrant of possession. Her son managed to steal the warrant that he was brandishing and hand it to his mum through the window. And it's the first warrant of possession that I've seen. When I turned it over, it said, if Judith Maxey pays 4 instalments of 0.00, this warrant must not be enforced. And she hadn't paid a penny. So they used a warrant that was not meant to be enforced to enforce it, to drag her out the house and sell the property. Well, this is the type of stuff you're up against. I mean, Jason, you're now questioning companies. You're questioning a £2.3 billion profit just by your actions. So you've got to start thinking the game's getting so much bigger. It's not about health and safety issues at MAG's courts anymore. It's not. We're beyond that. They are willing to railroad us in magistrates' courts, and we're having to have to fight them on the doorstep. And the police in certain areas, as you can quite tell, Sheffield and Nottingham, one of the worst police forces in the country, along with the Met and Greater Manchester Police. Fortunately, the police who I've interacted with, especially over my gas warrant, the policeman said, you're going to have to let him in, he's got a warrant. And I said, are you here as peacekeeper or bailiff today? And he went, oh, we're just here to keep the peace. I said, well, your opinion's not warranted then. And he never spoke to me for the rest of the time then. And I said, you try and get entry to my property and I'll remove you by any means necessary. You are not putting a pay-as-you-go meter in. I've invited you to come and check the supply, which I'm more than willing to do, and you can replace like for like. I've got that in documentation. He took about an hour on the phone. He ended up saying, right, we're going. The copper then stayed for another 2 hours saying, what's going on? Why are you doing this? What's this? What's that? 2 hours later, after talking about mortgages and gas and electric, he walked away scratching his head. But at least the copper was there to ask questions and he understood what his job was. These idiots that have got going into the likes of Jason's house and Alonso's house, I mean, Alonso was arrested, had his keys took off him. The policeman let the gas people in. After they'd done what they'd done, they locked the door, de-arrested him and handed his keys back. It's criminal. The police can't act in that capacity. That is 14 years imprisonment under Section 26 of the Criminal Justice Act. It's their acts. These are their rules, yet they're not being enforced. So it's got to get to a point where, I mean, I've just read a few articles recently. Over the past 5 or 6 years, you've had barristers that have been set on fire, solicitors who've been punched. A judge got punched in the face the other day. It's because they're driving people to that. They're driving people to it.
Well, we obviously don't condone violence. What you might call poetic justice, isn't it?
You can only push people so far.
Mm.
When you've got nothing else left to lose, what do? I mean...
You lose it.
Yeah. I stood there and I watched them steal me property, I watched them sell it, and I watched them throw a few quid back in my face and then try and charge me costs. That's all. That's basically all they do in these courts. They're not interested. There's no truth, there's no justice, and there's certainly no honour. We bring truth, justice and honour, and they just piss all over it. And I'm not saying every judge. I always say I met one good judge, one decent judge, who pulled the solicitor's pants down and bummed him right in front of me because he hadn't done due diligence. He was trying to say, oh, well, we didn't know there was more than one land registry number, because looking at the photographs, it seems like it's all one. And this judge went, I'm sorry, what? You're a partner in your solicitor's firm. You're telling me you didn't do due diligence to find out about land registry title numbers? Oh, dear, oh, dear. I don't think that this court has jurisdiction to award you this property. Bear in mind, he'd already sold the property as part of the other property. So he was applying for permission to sell it post-sale. So the judge said, I've not got jurisdiction. Have you got anything to say, Mr. Webster? Said, yes. Said, I'm a man known as Paul of the given name Webster, and I require by right restoration of my property. And he turned back to the solicitor and he said, did you hear what that man just said? He recognised me as a man. It's the only judge that I'd been before who would do that. And he was a circuit judge. He wasn't meant to be there. The judge that had been committing the fraud against me was off sick. Pray to God I had something to do with that sickness. But she came back with the force. I had a 3-hour hearing. I said, I don't need 3 hours. I require by right restoration of my property. Oh, well, it could cause problems with the sale and that. I went, I don't give a shite. I want my property back. And they still found against me after 3 hours. And it shouldn't happen where an ex-taxi driver, ex-window cleaner is stood giving better and more honest and just information than a QC who is stood there stuttering over his words going, Mr. Webster has had an amicable time to 3 hours of that shite. These are nothing but actors and poor actors at that. They are speaking a rhetoric that doesn't make any sense, and it doesn't mean anything to us. We don't have to be there. We're just indoctrinated, and because everything is now paperwork, people are having the land taken off them by land registry, because land registry is just a rubber stamping warehouse. That's all land registry is.
Yes, absolutely.
How are they getting on with the privatisation of the land registry? Last I heard anything about that, that was the plan.
That's what I think that's what they're all pushing us to, Tony. They're all pushing us to privatisation, but the thing with privatisation, it's like the infrastructure of the utility bills. It's not the utilities that have been privatised, it's the running of. That is why we still get sent joint gyro credit checks. So somebody sends me a cheque that they've withdrawn from their bank account, issue it to me that I can't do anything with. I go back to the company and say, I can't get access to these funds. I've transferred it to you. You deal with it. Oh, nothing to do with us. Nothing to do with us. That means you've committed fraud. Your cheque's bouncing like a ball. I can't get access to these funds. You've issued them to me. So there's something not right here. Ken Dobson from Manchester, he's been sending all his stuff accepted for value and sending it straight to HMRC. And he's getting the same results as what I got. They're either ignoring him or the odd account is being balanced. No letter saying that this is what we've done. They're just getting a bill saying balanced. They're not releasing this information. So Ken might be onto something there with the HMRC. They're the only ones that he's had any feedback from anyway, because he was sending them to the Treasury. And I believe that the corporate bank accounts, the Santander bank accounts, I think the funds for the utility bills are being paid in from HMRC or the Majesty's Treasury. It's our money, it's our credit from our trust funds that have been paid in there to set off our account, or offset our account, I should say, because we're not liable to pay for it. But it's very difficult to tell people who've been taught all their lives that they must pay for what they use, when it's a whole new ballgame to try and unlearn that stuff and try and learn how commerce was meant to work when the country went bankrupt. That's the big push.
It was quite. I think I mentioned this last time you were on with us, Paul. But many years ago, I got one of these gyro credit thingies, and I saw the word check on it, and I thought, I'm going to have a bit of mischief here.
That's what they changed. They changed that one word.
Yeah, so I went to the bank and I said, right, I've got a cheque here, I'm going to pay it in. So, oh, no, that doesn't work. I said, look, it says cheque, it's got my name on it, there's the numbers, pay it in my account. No, we can't do that, it's not that sort. No, it's a bill, you've got to go. I said, no, it doesn't say bill, it's a cheque, look. So I took it to the post office and I said, look, I've come to cash this cheque. What are you talking about? I said, look, read it, it's a cheque, it's got my name on it, there's the issuing bank, there's the figures. And little did I realise how close I was to the actual truth.
Boom. I mean, they were getting done for double dipping in those days as well, because you would sign your cheque, which would mean it was now cashable. They're your agents. Are they cashing it and taking your money? Is the Treasury just taking your money back? These are answers we don't have.
No.
Well, I've got some news on my case.
Eon?
Yeah.
Oh, go on.
You know, because I did the direct debit clawback and I've also incorporated the bills of exchange.
Yeah.
I've submitted my 9-page defence. Paul's seen my defence. It's 9 pages long. Basically, Eon's claim against me is invoices rendered. So they're just saying I've not paid what I have because I've got proof that I have with my direct debit. So I've served to the court to change it to my local court, the county court from the Northampton Crap Centre. And I've had it moved to, I initially tried to get it moved up north for tactical reasons to be in a neutral environment. But anyway, they wouldn't have it, so they've gone back to Nottingham. So basically, I've had it today, and it's an order for Eon that the claimant, they must serve by 4 p.m. on the 10th of September. To me, they must serve on the defendant their right of reply to defence. So basically what the judge is saying, or I've put in my defence, they've not replied to it, to me, answered any of my questions or anything. So the court's not happy on that. So he's given a deadline till the 10th of September, which must be served on me by 4 o'clock. So that's good news.
When did you put your documents into the county court? Not to Northampton. When did you put them into the county court?
They first went into Northampton, I'd say about 5 weeks ago.
Yeah, so have you been given a date for a hearing at county court?
Not yet, because I've already filled the paperwork in to move to county court. The county court judge, has had a look at my defence.
Which county
to give
court?
me direction. I'm waiting for direction from the court to when I need to insert my legal pack.
Right.
And when Eon need to pay the claim for their court fee to bring me to the court.
Right.
The proper county court. So the county court have my defence, and the county court have also Eon's claim. So the judge has looked at it and reviewed it, and I'm just waiting back now for a date and when I issue the legal pack to the court and on to Eon. But the judge has found some problems in their claim, because he's saying to them, Eon, you've not responded to me, the defendant. You must serve to him his right of reply for his defence. You've got to serve to him by the 10th of September, 4 o'clock. So what the judge is saying, you've not answered any of the defendant's questions. You've brought the claim to him. He's done a nice defence. You've not answered any of his questions. You must do that now. So that's good for me. They've got till the 10th of September to serve.
Well, mine's similar because of Northampton. I got, the judge looked at the stuff. Well, the judge gave us a hearing date on the 27th. All documents had to be in by the 7th. I waited till the Monday before, and I rang them and I said, has it been paid? And they confirmed that the fee had been paid. So Thursday morning on deadline day, I put my documents in. I then got a letter the following Tuesday stating that if Cabot Finance do not put their documents in by the 18th, the claim will be struck out. Now, they've sent me documents. They've been given a week extra. So they were waiting for my documents to land before they made a move. So I'm going to ask for it to be struck out straight away on the fact that they were given an extension. Why wasn't I given an extension? Now, mine's slightly different to yours, Kev, because I've got to try and go before a judge who's already committed fraud against me, which it's going before, and try and get her to get them to prove their claim, because she turned case law over on me last time and said that she took the bank's word that I owed them money. What's going to stop her doing it again? So I'm not expecting any favours, me, Kev. It's just, I've got to be in the game, do you know what I mean? I've got to put these documents in, I've got to line my ducks up for when, as and when the dam breaks. Mm-hmm. It's cracked, it's spraying water everywhere, but they're still fighting tooth and nail.
And it's important as well, those people that are listening, that if you ever go to the proper county court as we know it, the proper county court, and the claimant, if you like, are taking the claim against you, and they offer mediation, I wouldn't go down the mediation route. For the reasons if you've got a good defence that contains documents of case law, acts, statutes, section this, section that, and you talk about that in the mediation, and at that end of mediation period time, no parties reach an agreement under a neutral body, if you like, a neutral person, because they do it deliberately, some of these, and say, well, we can't reach an agreement, that's it. We'll sort it out in court. You cannot bring up any of your legal documents. You cannot bring it up into a proper court because it's not valid now. You've discussed it in mediation.
Right, that's an interesting point.
Be very careful on that.
And one that Lee brings up in the chat room there, and I believe I've heard you Kevin and Paul mention it before. He says check the company memorandum of understanding, and it will usually include a section on bills of exchange / promissory notes because they can create credit.
Yeah,
we've got all them.
They have to accept promissory notes, bills of exchange and negotiable instruments, otherwise they can't engage in commerce. I mean, if I pay them with cash, they're promissory notes. They're not going to accept them. Of course they're going to accept them.
I've got E.ON trading in a promissory note for 450 million euros with a 7-year maturity value. That's E.ON, who are taking me, for bringing the claim against me, and they're saying to me, we don't accept promissory notes. So I've said, well, I haven't paid with a promissory note, but I've got them operating in the bills of exchange. It's how it works. Without the bills of exchange, we have no economy, and without no economy, we have meltdown. It's how it works within the world, You do it day in, day out. Even if you write a cheque, a bank cheque, a normal cheque that you write, you've just written a negotiable instrument that has zero value at the start. When you put value to that cheque, and then you add your signature, that's what adds the value, because now you've endorsed it. You've added the signature. Then you are now the drawee. Well, you're the drawer. Then that cheque goes to whoever's bank, and it's their bank that draw on your bank account. And that's how it works. That's how bills of exchange work. Well, you've been in our little group, Andy, haven't you?
Oh yes, I learned an awful lot in there. Yeah, it's absolutely fascinating.
I think the classics of it for me. Why does somebody like British Gas send me a bill and send me a cheque for the exact amount that I can't get access to? It's obvious that they are playing a game within the bills of exchange that I'm not meant to know about. Mm-hmm. I'm not meant to know that's a cheque. I'm meant to think it's a paying-in slip because, as you pointed out, Andy, that was the one word that they changed. Yeah. Payment cheque to payment slip. And that managed to confuse everybody. I mean, it wasn't until I started looking into it, when things started dropping on my doormat and knocking on my door, that I actually looked into this stuff. I mean, 10 years ago, maybe a bit longer, but even 10 years ago, somebody could have given me a DVD on contract law and said, here, have a watch of that. I'm going, piss off, Harry Potter's only 10 minutes. I wouldn't have been interested in any of this stuff. But then you realise that even though you might not be interested in this and politics are very interested in you, and they're interested in you to stay asleep, stay ignorant, keep paying. I've just been reading, I don't know if you commented on it actually, Kev, but I've just been reading in one of the Beat the Bailiffs, a lad has put in there saying that there was a water leak, they've come in, they've put a smart meter in, he says, I don't want that in. He says, well, we can do what we like, it's our meters. No, you can't. That is my permission you need to put that meter in, and I don't want it. And there's a woman in there saying, well, I tend to pay my bills. It's less hassle that way. And I'm thinking, what the fuck are you doing in this group? If you just pay your bills and you stay under the radar, go away and carry on doing that because you're not helping people here. And then
why you just mention that, Paul? I just want to, while you've reminded me, and people that are listening, if you're alleged debt, and I always say alleged debt, never debt, if it's an alleged debt and it doesn't incur over £500, under Ofgem's rules, you can actually switch supplier. And the other thing, if they come in, which it happened to a guy who was helping Alonso, they've fitted smart prepayment meters. Now, under legislation at the moment, the government hasn't even passed them. But what they're trying to do by I think it's 2020, or they're trying to get the whole of the UK onto smart meters, but it's still consent. It's still consent. But the guy that we helped down in South, he has got proper health conditions, and they swore in court that they would never let his meter run dry, if you like, and he needs it for medical equipment, and it actually ran dry one night. He had no credit and he needed it. So this guy has took his own health into his own hands. He's got his doctor on his side. He's had those meters taken out. Now, because it's a smart meter, once that supply's gone, it's milliseconds, and the utility company will know that that meter's offline. Period. They will know. Anyway, he had them changed. Bearing in mind, he said, we'll let nothing happen to him. His meters have been out now for quite a while, and his utility company haven't even questioned it or says, are you all right? Are you all right, Mr. Joe Bloggs? Is everything all right? They've not questioned it. Now, all of a sudden, they want to speak.
He got arrested, wasn't he, Kev?
Pardon?
He was the one who they arrested and
yes. Now, they want to speak to him now, this utility company. So that's where he is now. But the dirty gits, what they've done, they've sent another utility company around, EDF, and he's not with EDF. And I think it was Transco's been around and knocked on his door, didn't force entry, just knocked on his door and says, we've had a report of a gas leak. And he says, I'm sorry. He says, yeah, we've been told there's a gas leak at the property. And he said, who said that? And it was his utility company had made false accusations that he'd got a gas leak. He's recorded them, he's got their IDs and everything, they've left. Then after that, EDF's now turned up, and they said they came around and they're asking the same questions. And basically, I spoke to him tonight, actually. He said to them, it's not your business. I have no business with you. My business is with this utility company. You ask them to do all correspondence with me in writing, and I will deal with it accordingly. You have been recorded. It will be used in evidence. But then his utility company aren't engaging with him. They're backing off because they've been found wanting. You know, the doctor's on his side, and he has got serious problems. He needs his equipment to run the machinery, you know, for his health. He needs the juice. So he's still got the utility company's smart meters. He's charging them a storage fee of, I think it's £10 a day. They've not come round to collect them yet.
Quite cheap.
We've sent a letter before claim, and they want to talk now. They actually want to speak to him, but they want to take it to the ombudsman. I said to him, forget it. Ombudsman and mediators, they'll always take the side of the utility company. Forget it. Let them bring the claim to you. Let them spend the money, bring the claim to you to take you to county court. You've got a firm case, and that's where we need to be, county court. So that's where he is on that one. But everyone just needs to bear in mind, they can't fit smart prepayment meters. It's not even passed by government yet. And if your alleged debt is £500 or below, under Ofgem's guidelines, you can transfer suppliers. So if that helps anybody out, take that on board.
We've got a question here from Pat in the chat room, and it's kind of relevant in a roundabout way. And the question is, what is the source of all equity and subsequently money?
What's the source?
You are.
We are the people. We are the creditors. What's the name? Pat?
Pat.
Yeah, Pat, we're the creditors, Pat. When you sign money, when you sign for a loan, it's your signature that creates that money. It's your name. It's very valuable. And we are the creditors. That is it. Without the creditors, there's nothing.
What we don't realise is that when we're signing these promissory notes, they're getting securitised, sold to an SPV that could be worth actually more than what you are actually signing for. So in other words, if you've created a promissory note for £20,000 of credit and they securitise that and sell it on the stock exchange, then you should be notified how much that's been sold for. Because if that's gone for 22, your debt to yourself has now gone and you're actually owed £2,000. But nobody knows how this commerce works. I've only scratched the surface of it. Kevin's scratching the surface of it. We've got people who know this inside and out. But we need these people to now stop arguing and bickering amongst each other. I'm sick to death of looking in these groups. I mean, there's people who me and Kevin have, I won't say been involved with, but we've interacted with, and they do bring something to the table, but now they're wasting time and energy arguing amongst themselves. Sure, you know what I'm talking about, Kevin.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean...
Yeah, I think we all know what you're talking about.
We've had quite a few instances of that just lately. You know, what really, really, really bugs me is you'll get these people, they'll stand in front of a room full of people and they'll talk for 20 minutes on how we need to stop the infighting. And then when you go outside and there's a break, they're sniping at somebody. You know,
apparently they're offering to smash somebody's face in. What's the point? What's the point? I'm not here. So if you tell me that the way I do things is wrong, then fine, that's your opinion.
Yeah.
I did these things, these are my results, and this is what I stand by. Do I claim that this is the way to go? No. I claim this is what I did. That's exactly what I said to Kev when I started talking to him after Tom's meeting in November last year. Said, I'm not claiming this is the way it works. Kevin went away and did his own due diligence. He understood how it is meant to work. Are we getting into a position where we can enforce this? No, because the burden of proof is being put onto us unless, the way Eon have gone about it, they've taken Kevin to county court. So Kevin has got a chance to make a win in a county court. That's the closest anybody's got with this stuff as far as I'm concerned. Kevin's got them on both points. He's got them on the direct debits and he's also got them on the fact is he asked them for a paper bill and he transferred the cheque back to them because he can't do anything with it. And they said, we can't do anything with that. Well, hang on a minute. In the bills of exchange, you took up the position of the drawer and the drawee because you went to your cash drawer and drew funds out and issued them to the payee, which is Kevin. You sent him a cheque that he can't do anything with. That is fraud if you're claiming that you're not going to honour that cheque. It's your bank account, mate. That's it. Now, like I said, Ken is doing A for V, doing the same stuff as what we're putting on for the amount, national insurance, non-commercial customer, blah, 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 sign and date, and sending it to HMRC to offset the accounts. And he's not hearing anything, but there's nobody chasing him either. So there's teeth in all this. There's different people coming at it from different angles. I don't care if you are taking a wheel clamp off your own car that somebody's put on and you're sticking it on your own fence, putting a chain around it and padlocking it and charging the bailiff a release fee for the clamp because people are doing that and people are winning with it. Yeah, I'll release that. There was a copper who says, the bailiff's saying, arrest him. What do you want me to arrest him for? He's taken that clamp off there. Is there any damage to your clamp? He went, well, no. He said, so this is a civil matter. He said, will you give him his clamp back? Yeah, there's a £300 release fee. If he pays cash today, he can have it. Well, I'll just go and cut the lock off. Well, I'm sorry, sir, I'm going to arrest you for criminal damage. So people are coming at it from all different angles, and I applaud it. But what I can't be arsed with is, I mean, when I first got in touch with Ken, I was asking him what he was doing, where he was sending it, and he was a bit shitty with me. And I PM'd him, and I started chatting to him. We got into a chat, and I went, you thought I was going to try and get in touch with you to blow you away, didn't you? He went, I've had so much of it, Paul, where people are attacking me because I'm doing this, and it doesn't work because of this, and it doesn't work because of that. And he says, but this is what I've done, and I'm hearing nothing. They're not chasing me, they're not harassing me, they've just left it. And I went, well, that's what British Gas did with me. They just ran away, they just left it because at the end of the day, they're going to have to come up with a pretty good argument because they'll have to take this county court. Magistrates won't hear any more applications on my property. I've had another letter from British Gas this week after my bill. I got a bill, then I got a letter saying, this is our final notice. We really, 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 really mean this time. Now, I've had it so many times. They may go for it. They may pass a warrant and I may have to deal with it. I don't know anymore, boys. It's just one of those things. It's if you're not in it, if you don't get a knowledge of this and you're not in the fight, then what right have you got to spout about it? I don't talk about stuff that I haven't been involved in, unless I have an understanding of it and I can say, ask questions to people who've actually done it. But I wouldn't be talking about trust accounts where people are actually actively trying to find these trust accounts and gain access to them and operate in a capacity that is beyond what they control, because we're all taught to operate in our lowest capacity in everything, and that is the dead man's capacity, which is of no use to any of us. How the hell do we beat a system that wants to recognise us as dead? Yeah. I'm here, hello, it's me. Yeah, we can't hear you.
I think
we are getting close, Andy, though. We are getting very close. We are getting close now. We know that they're worried.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
I think
they know.
An important point you made there, Paul, about how we tackle this situation is the coming at it from all angles.
Yes.
Because that's how massive armies are beaten by small bands of guerrillas. I mean, you look at, I suppose the Korean War would be a fairly good example. The American army were overwhelmingly powerful.
The Russians, and also, I suppose.
Yeah, the Afghans against the Russians. It was unfortunate some guys had to set themselves on fire and jumped inside tanks. Yep. But it certainly got rid of them, and, the two mightiest armies on the earth were defeated by a bunch of tribesmen.
That's exactly what we're saying. It's got to come from grassroots. Mm-hmm. There's not going to be a messiah. No. Jeremy Corbyn isn't going to become Labour leader and make everything okay. He might say some good things, but at the end of the day, you've still got to keep your eye on it. And I certainly wouldn't stand behind him and say, you speak for me, Jeremy. I'd be going, hang on, Jeremy, mate, have you had a look at these bills? These bills where the old people are dying every year because they're too scared to put the gas on and they're not liable for it. Would you be interested in looking at that, Jeremy? Because my MP, Burnham, he isn't interested. 3.5 years I've been trying to get a meeting with him, and I can't get a meeting unless I tell him what I want to speak about. So I want to speak to him about council tax and utility bills. Not a thing. I've emailed him, I've sent him my videos, I've gone into his office. I cannot get an appointment with the man. He's not interested. So would Jeremy Corbyn be? I've no idea.
Have you thought about planting a tree and laying on some tea and biscuits?
Even some ham sandwiches. Even some ham sandwiches. That statement, Andy, is actually, you just took the words out of my mouth when I actually said to his personal assistant in his local Labour shop, I said, is it really going to take me to plant a tree and put some ham sandwiches on and ask the local photograph to come, local page to come round and photograph me with a thumbs up with Berman? Is that what it's going to take? And she just had no answer. Just email me and email Andy and we'll get back to you. That was last July. Honestly, it's been an absolute waste of time. Politicians, for me, if they were on fire, I'd walk past them because they're burning us every day, whether by action or inaction. It doesn't matter which. We haven't got any great MPs. I don't know any. Yes, you can point at some who said some good stuff. Dennis Skinner, Tony Benn said some good stuff. The fella, what's his name, the fella who fell off the mountain after telling us that there's no such thing as Al-Qaeda.
Robin Cook.
Yeah. Robin Cook, he was another one. They all say good things at some good times, but none of them are consistent. The only reason that Corbyn's getting all this attention is because he's had beliefs in certain things that he's kept. And when he's asked a question on it, he answers it straight. He doesn't give you a politician's answer. Now, is this a clever ruse for Labour to get who they really want in power? Because if Tony Blair's going against him and endorsing somebody else, for the war criminal that he is, you're always going to go for who he's going against. Or people who don't really know history or read history. Because I have to admit, up until I started doing my own studies and my own researches, if I went off what my mum and my dad were telling me, that Labour was a working man's party and we should always vote for Labour, I'm sorry, I can't vote for Labour knowing what I know about that party. I mean, you even know that the Fabian created in its original roots. Yeah. So where is the people aspect? It was all a myth. It's all a myth to keep going with this puppeteered government that comes from the banks. I mean, until we start seeing bankers arrested, you're not going to see politicians or police or anybody like that arrested either.
Absolutely true. Absolutely true. We absolutely need to start getting some bankers arrested. But like you say, it's not going to happen, is it? Until as a species and as a race, we grow some balls.
I think we're getting there, Jason. I think there's we don't need everybody, but I think we're getting to a tipping point now where the courts are getting all locked up because of people, idiots like me and idiots like Kevin, who want to go in there with no solicitors and not give them automatic jurisdiction. So then they've got to start telling lies, and when you've got somebody who sits there saying, "Well, I must be convinced." So what the judge is basically saying is, if their side can convince me more than you, I'm going to go with them. Well, she's going to stay within the system. When I only asked one question at my first hearing over my property, which was, what jurisdiction is the judge standing under, and what authority do they claim? Within 4 minutes, armed response police arrived and ran in and out of every courtroom looking for a breach of the peace. Then, when I went into court, I had 2 armed police stood in front of me, 2 next to me and 2 behind me, for the sale of a property. That shows you that they are shitting themselves. That was 6 years ago. They shat themselves. They're done, Jason. They just don't realise it, and we don't realise it because we have so many people who say, "Oh, I can't see that happening in my lifetime. Didn't happen in my granddad's. Didn't happen in my dad's. It's not going to happen in mine." Well, fuck you. I'm part of this reality, and it is going to happen because I can see the changes. I can see the people who've had enough. I can see the people. There's some old girl, I don't know where it was, but they got a repossession this week, and the police broke in through the house, and she was heartbroken. She was screaming and crying on the front, and the ambulance staff were trying to take her away. She said, "I'm not going anywhere. I'm not going anywhere." They'd already broken into her house. The fella who barricaded, they were trying to get him to come out so he didn't get arrested and filled in. The police had broken. It's just, people have got to say enough's enough. Unfortunately, I still have so many people around me and work with so many people. You get the ones who, I pay my bills and stay under the radar because I don't want the hassle, blah, blah, blah. Then you get the ones who, "Oh, that's very interesting information, let me know how you get on." And then you get the ones who, "Well, if you ever win that, show me how you did it and I'll do it." So you're working against 3 lots of people for a start, and that's just in your local vicinity, your friends, your family. I mean, I've lost friends and family over this stuff. People support the troops. I do. Bring them home.
Exactly. If you support the troops, bring them home. If you support them, you really don't want any more to die, bring them home. It's simple. It's ridiculous.
I think that's a brilliant point, Jason, and I'd like to thank you all for coming on tonight. It's been a great discussion, and thank you, Tony, for joining me. And we'll just play out with a little bit of music from the specials, and if you stick around, Martin Farrell will be on very shortly after. Thank you very much